Good morning. Thank you for being here in this quiet moment at the start of your day. Every morning carries a new opportunity, like a door opening softly. I do not know what feeling you woke up with today, but the fact that you chose to give a few minutes to your soul already says something beautiful about you. Morning is the time when the mind is still soft and light and has not yet been pulled into the rush of life. It is like a field still covered in dew, where only one warm thought can change the color of the whole day. Maybe you are carrying something from yesterday, an unfinished conversation, a quiet sadness without a name, or the sense that something inside you still needs to be arranged. That is completely normal. Morning does not ask you to be strong or bright right away. Morning only asks you to be present. This morning, allow yourself to settle a little, not to solve everything, not to become someone else, just to touch your own heart in its gentlest state. There is something beautiful in life that we sometimes forget. It is that every morning gives you the right to begin again. No one can take that from you. No one can decide the color of your day except you. Even if yesterday was noisy, even if someone said something that hurt you, even if life has placed heavy responsibilities on your shoulders, the morning is still a pure space that belongs only to you. I want you to take a second to look at yourself in your mind. Without judgment, without pressure, just look. Where are you inside yourself? What do you need? What part of you is longing to be gently touched? This morning, let these quiet minutes become your anchor, a place to breathe, to lean into stillness, to remind yourself that you are growing, and this journey has permission to slow down. Maybe you used to think that peace is something far away, but sometimes peace comes from this exact moment, when you are willing to pause and let your soul soften a little. That is all. And now, before we step deeper into the story of today, I want to ask you something very light. This morning, what is the one thing your heart is hoping for the most? Hold that answer gently inside you, because we will walk forward together, step by step, slowly and softly. Now that you are more present with yourself, we will take a moment to breathe, not to control, not to try, but simply to remind your mind that it is allowed to slow down. Your breath is the one thing that stays with you from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, yet sometimes we forget its gentle power. Bring your attention to the first breath. Inhale slowly, as if you are inviting light into your chest. Hold it for a moment, without rushing, then exhale softly, as if you are letting every remaining tension fall out of your heart. One more time. Breathe in deeply, breathe out slowly. Every cycle of breath is a way for you to reset the rhythm of your life. Your body understands your slowness, your heart understands your softness, and your mind understands that it is being guided into a safe space. Maybe there are still pieces of emotion inside you that do not yet have a name. Maybe you are still thinking about what someone said or something that made you uncomfortable. But when you breathe like this, your mind opens a space wide enough to hold everything without being overwhelmed. Breath does not erase sadness. It only makes the sadness less sharp. Breath does not take away hurt. It only gives you more room to look at the hurt with clearer eyes. Morning is the perfect time to practice this small exercise. Just a few gentle breaths can shift the whole tone of your morning. When you breathe softly, you are telling yourself that you choose peace over hurry. You choose clarity over chaos. You choose presence over demands that have not arrived yet. Now let your mind flow with your breath for 3 more rounds. The first inhale is for yourself. The second exhale is for the things you no longer need to carry. The third inhale is for the new day waiting for you. And the final exhale is for the lightness you deserve. When you breathe like this, you are preparing for the deeper story we are about to enter. You are opening the door for peace to settle into every quiet corner inside you, and you are creating a foundation for a new day that is not colored by the things you no longer want to hold. Before we close this part, I want to ask you something small but important. This morning, when you placed your hand on your chest and breathed slowly, what did you feel? Whose feeling was that? Was it truly yours? Or was it the echo of yesterday still lingering in your thoughts? Let this question rest gently in your mind for a while, and thank you for giving yourself this moment of presence. Now that your breath has become steadier, we will gently step into a place that every one of us has experienced, whether a little or a lot. It is that moment in the morning when you wake up and realize something inside you is still unsettled. It is not always something big. Sometimes it is a sentence someone said that hurt you yesterday. Sometimes it is the feeling that you reacted a little too quickly. Sometimes it is a decision hanging in the air. And sometimes it is just a vague heaviness without a name, like a thin layer of mist resting on your mind. If your morning looks like that, it is completely normal. There is nothing wrong with you. This is simply the real rhythm of being an adult. People do not step into the morning with a perfectly calm mind. Everyone carries a little echo from the day before, like a quiet sound lingering after a conversation or a feeling. Humans are not switches. We do not turn emotions on and off instantly. And that is exactly why mornings matter so much, because they give you a chance to look again, to understand yourself, to avoid living the whole day under the influence of an old emotion. Maybe you woke up this morning with a sense of not being enough, not skilled enough, not calm enough, not patient enough, not loved enough, not rested enough. Maybe you are thinking about a relationship you do not know whether to move forward or step back. Maybe you want someone to understand you, but they cannot see what you are holding in your heart. Maybe you are tired of the way you react when someone touches an old wound. All of that is deeply human, and morning is the perfect time to place a hand on your heart and remind yourself that you are learning to slow down. There is a strong idea in the original message. When someone hurts you, your first instinct is always to defend yourself, to speak back, to push them away, to prove you are not weak. But morning gives you a rare pause to see this clearly. When you see it clearly, you begin to have a choice. You realize the instinct to react is real, but you do not have to follow it. You have the right to choose another path, a gentler path, a path that does not require you to win, does not require you to prove anything, does not require you to trade away your peace. We are walking slowly, so the new day will not be built on the rush of yesterday's feelings. Try asking yourself one small question. This morning, what is the thing pulling your heart down the most? You do not need to answer with words. Just acknowledge it. Once you recognize it, you have already walked half the way. The rest, we will continue together. While you are gently observing the emotions that remain from yesterday, I want to plant a soft thought in your mind. This morning, you do not need to become the perfect version of yourself. You only need to become someone who keeps their heart open. That alone is already a beautiful step forward. Many people think that love means being cheerful, being generous, or forgiving every mistake others make. But the truth is much simpler. Love is a small choice. The choice not to let your heart close. The choice not to let hurt turn you into someone rigid. The choice not to let others decide the color of your day. Imagine your mind in the morning as a still lake. When someone throws a stone into it, the surface ripples. But if you leave it alone, it settles again. And if you do not keep throwing more stones into it, the water returns to clarity. Your mind works the same way. It can heal, it can return to stillness, as long as you stop tossing negative thoughts into it. The original message carries a strong idea that love is not a luxury. It is part of who you are. When you choose to respond with softness instead of anger, you are keeping your heart from becoming heavy. When you choose silence instead of striking back, you are protecting your peace. When you choose gentleness instead of defensiveness, you are planting a very real strength inside you, the strength of a growing soul. This morning, I want you to hold one simple line in your heart, like a soft reminder. I do not need to be perfect. I only need to be at peace. It sounds simple, but if you carry it long enough, you will notice your choices becoming lighter. When someone irritates you, you will remember that you do not need to be right. You only need to be at peace. When something does not go your way, you will remember that you do not need to control everything. You only need to be at peace. When your mind wants to return to old stories, old wounds, you only need to whisper gently, "This morning, I only need peace." And now, to help you connect more deeply, I want you to do something small. Leave one word, the word peace, as a way to remind yourself that this is the direction you are choosing. Thank you for being here and for receiving this little seed of thought with openness. Now that a gentle seed of thought is already resting in your heart, we will move into something even more important. This is not a lesson, not a philosophy. It is simply a small rule of the mind for you to carry through the day, a light rule, but if you remember it, it can shift the color of your whole day. The rule for this morning is this: your day will take its color from the first thing you choose to write into your mind. Right now, your heart is like a blank page. In these first few minutes of the day, whatever you write on that page will spread through your thoughts, your feelings, and your reactions. If you write hurry on it, you will rush through the day without knowing why you are rushing. If you write an old hurt on it, you will see everything through the lens of caution. If you write self-blame on it, you will feel lacking, no matter how hard you try. But if you write something beautiful on it, that beauty will become a small light, guiding you through difficult moments. Something beautiful does not need to be grand. It can be a simple reminder that you are allowed to slow down, that you have the right to be at peace, that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. The original message spoke about not mirroring negativity. You do not need to respond to hurt with more hurt. You do not need to react quickly just because your instinct wants to protect you. That is true, but to live that way, you need an anchor inside, and this rule of the mind is exactly that anchor. When your mind has been written with something bright, you are no longer pulled into old patterns. When someone says something that bothers you, you will remember that you chose peace at the start of your day. When a situation makes you want to push back, you will notice you have a few extra seconds to think before responding. When old emotions rise, you will know you do not have to follow them. You wrote something different on your morning page, and what you write has real power. It does more than soften your heart. It sets the direction for how you will live this day. Ask yourself one small question. This morning, what do you want to write on the blank page of your mind? One line, just one. Bright enough, soft enough, light enough to carry with you. It could be peace. It could be gentleness. It could be patience. It could be a small kindness for yourself. Hold that line close, because it will be the light that guides you into the next part of this story. Now that you know what you want to write on the blank page of your mind this morning, we will take one more gentle step. This is the moment when you bring that beautiful thought into real life. Not through big actions, but through something so small that you might think it does not matter. Yet it is often the smallest things that soften the heart in the most lasting way. The small action for today is very simple. This morning, try smiling at yourself in the mirror, just for 1 second. No need to force it. No need to pretend you are happy. Just a light smile, soft enough to remind you that you are choosing to lean toward the light, toward peace, toward the good within you. It sounds simple, but that 1 second can shape the rest of your day, because when you smile at yourself, you are quietly saying that you accept yourself. You are not fighting yourself. You are not treating yourself like a burden. You are not demanding perfection from your heart. That 1 second is a reconciliation with your own soul. In the original message, there was a deep idea. When you choose not to strike back, not to respond with anger, not to match hurt with hurt, you are choosing another path, the path of gentleness, the path of maturity. But to walk that path, your heart needs nourishment, and this small action is how you nourish it. Many people believe that to change their life, they must start with big decisions. But the truth is that our inner life moves through the smallest choices. The moments when you choose calm over heat, choose breath over reaction, choose a 1 second pause instead of a sharp sentence, choose to look at yourself with kindness instead of criticism. A simple morning smile can be the starting point of that whole chain of gentle choices, and every soft choice helps shape who you are today. Now, I want you to imagine yourself standing in front of the mirror. You do not need to look perfect. You do not need to be fully put together. You do not need to hold a flawless posture. Just you, in the form you are in this morning. Every wrinkle, every bit of tiredness, every breath is proof of the journey you have walked. And when you smile at yourself, you are acknowledging that this journey deserves tenderness. There is no one in this world who needs your smile more than you. No one who needs your acceptance more than the heart beating in your chest. No one who needs your kindness more than the version of you standing here this morning. So let that 1 second of smiling be a gift you give yourself before you give anything to the world. Before we close this part, I want to ask you something sincerely. This morning, what gentle gift do you want to give yourself? A smile, a breath, a soft reminder, or simply a moment of slow presence? Tell me by sharing your answer below, and thank you for being here, for giving your soul such a beautiful moment of care. Now that you know what you want to carry into your day and have already given yourself a gentle action, we will step into a small story, a very simple one, yet I believe each of us has seen a piece of ourselves in it at some point. There was a man named Daniel who lived in a small town by the sea. He worked in an ordinary office with the kind of pressure any adult would understand. One afternoon, after a long and tiring day, Daniel received a message from a coworker that made him feel insulted. It was just a thoughtless sentence, just a few words sent too quickly, but they struck an old wound inside him and made him tense up instantly. That evening, Daniel carried that feeling home. He ate dinner without tasting it. He watched the news without really hearing anything. He went to bed with a heavy heart. And the next morning, when he looked at himself in the mirror, he realized something. He was not angry because of the message itself. He was angry because it touched the things he had been trying to hide. And he was angry because he had allowed someone else to decide his emotional state too easily. Daniel's story is similar to the story of many people. When someone hurts us, the first feeling is always self-defense, wanting to respond, wanting to prove we are not weak, wanting the other person to know they were wrong. But the original message carried a precious idea. When you strike back, you lower yourself to the same level as the hurt that was given to you. But when you choose not to react, you rise to a higher place. That morning, Daniel did something very small, similar to what you did in the previous step. He stood in front of the mirror, looked into his own eyes, and asked himself, what do I really want to bring into today? the heaviness from last night or something else. He did not know how to forgive right away. He did not know if he had enough peace to forget. But he knew he wanted to feel lighter, so he decided to start from there. He went to work with a different spirit, not defensive, not tense, not cold, just open. When he met the co-worker from the day before, Daniel did not avoid him, but he also did not force friendliness. He simply greeted him, a normal greeting, and that ordinary moment opened something unexpected. The co-worker looked at him for a second and quietly apologized. No excuses, no explanations, just an apology. That moment did not erase the hurt, but it helped Daniel understand something. Some things do not need you to fix them, do not need you to react, do not need you to tighten yourself to prove anything. They only need you to give yourself a little space. The rest will find its own way back to where it belongs. Daniel's story is not extraordinary. It is the story of ordinary people choosing to live with a soft heart. And it is that softness that becomes real strength. After Daniel's story, we step deeper into a reality that everyone has lived through. It is the moment when you have to choose, not between right and wrong, but between peace and reaction. These two things are very different. And the most important part is that you always have the right to choose, even when the situation makes it feel like you do not. There are moments when someone says something that bothers you, not loud, not harsh, not meant to hurt, but it lands right on the thinnest place inside you, and within seconds, your body reacts, your heart tightens, your chest stiffens, your mind wants to snap back with something sharp to protect itself. This is the moment where many people lose their peace in just a few short seconds. But the miracle is that, inside those seconds, there is a tiny pause. A pause wide enough for you to ask one simple question. What do I want to carry into the rest of the day? You may not have noticed this before, but every reaction you give is a decision about the quality of your day. If you react with heat, that heat follows you for a long time. If you choose silence and a breath, that peace also follows you for a long time. The original message carried a deep truth. When you strike back, you are reflecting the very thing that hurt you. You become a mirror of what caused your pain. But when you choose softness, choose calm, choose a 1-second step back, you are standing on a higher level of maturity. You are not letting others decide your attitude or your character. You are not being pulled around by things you cannot control. Imagine a tense conversation. Words are being thrown back and forth. One wrong sentence could ruin the whole day. But in that same conversation, if you simply step back for 3 seconds, breathe, and speak with your voice lowered just one tone, the entire atmosphere changes. The other person begins to soften. The tension drops. The conversation shifts. Those 3 seconds are the power of peace. There are moments when peace is not silence. Peace is choosing to say the right thing in the right way. It is saying the truth without causing harm. It is speaking what needs to be spoken without letting anger lead you. Peace is also knowing when to pause, when to listen, and when to let distance give clarity. You cannot control others. You cannot decide what they say, what they think, or how they behave. But you can decide one thing very clearly. You will not let anyone pull you out of the quiet space inside you. And if this choice is practiced daily, it becomes a habit stronger than any hurtful word. Before we close this part, I want you to do something small for yourself. If you are also learning to choose peace in each conversation, each situation, each tense moment, leave the number 1 below. Just 1. So I know you are still here, walking this journey with me, choosing a softer life every day. Thank you for being here. Now that your heart is softer, your breath steadier, and peace is slowly opening inside you, we step into the most important part of the morning. A simple prayer, not a request for miracles, not a theological structure, just a soft whisper from one soul to the day, to life, and to itself. You may close your eyes if it helps you settle. You may keep them open if you want to receive the morning as it is. However you choose, this prayer will find its way into your heart. This morning, I ask to become lighter. I ask to walk into this new day with a heart that is peaceful, bright, and soft. Whatever happened yesterday, whatever made me sad or tired, I ask to set it down in this moment. I do not want to carry it through the day. I want to give myself the chance to begin again. I ask for clarity, so I may see things more clearly, to know what to hold and what to let go, to know when to speak and when silence is gentler, to know what comes from love and what comes from old wounds. I ask for a tender heart that does not react from old patterns, that does not return hurt for hurt, that does not use words as a shield and forget its own kindness. I ask for the ability to pause for a moment before I respond, so that whatever I say today can lift and not burden. I ask to learn the art of forgiveness, not because the other person deserves it, but because my heart needs freedom. I ask for the courage to release what no longer has a place in my life. I ask for the wisdom to create distance when I must protect myself, without letting my heart close to what is good. I ask for patience with myself. I am not perfect, and I do not need to be. I only need to be a little more awake each day, a little deeper, a little kinder to my own soul. I ask for peace for the home I step out of this morning. Peace in the way I look at life. Peace in the way I speak to others. Peace in how I face challenges. Peace in all my choices today. If there is someone in my life who is hurting me, let me see them through a wider lens, knowing they carry wounds just like I do. If someone misunderstands me, give me gentleness so I do not make things heavier. If someone needs love from me, let me give without fear of not having enough. And finally, I ask to walk into this day with a heart full of gratitude, grateful that I am breathing, grateful that I am alive, grateful that I still have the chance to renew myself, grateful that this morning has given me a place to stand, a place many days I did not have. Let me carry this peace from sunrise until night returns, and let me remember that as long as my heart stays soft, I will never walk away from the path meant for me. Now that we have walked together through an entire morning journey, from breath to inner observation, to gentle choices, to the story of softness, and to the quiet prayer we just shared, there is one last thing I want you to carry with you. It is the awareness that you have begun this day in a beautiful way. You gave your mind space to breathe. You allowed your heart the right to soften. You offered yourself a kindness you often forget to give. And you gave this morning a level of presence that not everyone is brave enough to offer themselves. Not everyone dares to pause. Not everyone dares to look inside honestly. Not everyone dares to ask what they truly want. But you did. And because of that, your day is already different. No matter what happens in the rest of this day, you can always return to the anchor you built this morning. Just remember one thing. You chose peace from the start. Let yourself walk into the day with that lightness. When you go to work, carry with you the clarity of each breath you took for yourself. When you face a difficult conversation, remember the small pause you practiced this morning. When you feel your heart being pulled down, remember that you do not need to follow every passing emotion. You have learned to choose. You have the right to stop. You have the right to breathe. You have the right to step back from what is not yours. And you have the right to step toward what makes you softer, brighter, and deeper. I do not know where you are. I do not know what work you do. I do not know what your family looks like, but I know this. If you keep your heart open, if you keep your breath slow, if you keep the morning rule you chose today, then wherever you go, a little bit of light will go with you. Before we end, I want to leave you a gentle blessing. I hope you have a soft day, a day where your heart is wide enough for peace to flow through, a day where you treat yourself with tenderness and treat others with understanding, a day where you do not need to become anyone except the person you already are. If this morning brought you something warm, I invite you to return for the mornings ahead. Each day, we will share a few moments like this, a few moments to slow down, a few moments to return to yourself, a few moments to remember that the soul also needs nourishing, not rushed, not heavy, not showy, just a small space for you to begin the day with clarity, peace, and presence. Thank you for spending this time here. Thank you for trusting this journey. May you step out of this morning with brighter eyes and a lighter heart, and may your day be gentle,